Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Pawan Prabhuji, Shriya Mataji, Vishwanath Prabhu, Nakshi Moini, all of you for chanting today. So we'll continue with our prayers and then reading from Shri Prabhupada Lavrit. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namaha Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Okay, anybody would like to try singing prayer of the week? No, nobody. Okay.
I can, Prabhuji, if
Okay, go.
nobody is doing.
Yes, good, Srimataji. Yeah.
ठाकुर वैष्णव पद अवनीर संपद शुनो भाई होया एक मन आश्रय लोय भजे तारे कृष्ण नहीं त्याजे हार सब मोरे अकारण वैष्णव चरण जल प्रेम भक्ति दिथे बोल हार के हो नहीं बलवंत वैष्णव चरण रेणु मस्तके भूषण वीनु हार नाही भूषणेरा अंत तीर्थ जल पवित्र गुणे लिखिया छे पुराणे से सब भक्तिर प्रवंचना वैष्णवेर पादोदक समान हे सब याते होय वांछिता पुराण वैष्णव संगीते मन आनंदित अनुक्षण सदा होय कृष्ण परसंग दीनानारोत्तम कांदे हिय धैर्य नहीं बांधे मोर दस केनो होइलो भंग ठाकुर वैष्णव पद अवनीर संपद शुनो भाय होया एक मन हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Srimataji. Anybody else would like to read the translation?
I can read Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Can I read Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Oh brother, please hear my words with rapt attention. The lotus feet of the Vaishnavas are the most valuable treasure of this world. These Vaishnavas continually take shelter of Lord Krishna and worship him. They never abandon their Lord. They are liberated. They are free from the cycle of birth and death. The water that has washed the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas bestows devotional service in pure love of God. Nothing else is as effective for attaining this divine love. I place dust from the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas upon my head. I wear no other ornaments. The purifying power of the waters at the various holy places of pilgrimage is described in the Puranas, although this is something of a deceptive trick. Actually, there is not anything as purifying as the water that has washed the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. This water fulfills all desires. Moment after moment, my mind finds pleasure in the association of the Vaishnavas. I always seek out the company of those who are devoted to Lord Krishna. Poor hearted Narottam Das breaks down and cries, "How has this fallen condition come upon me?" Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Aarti Mataji. Okay, let's continue with Srila Prabhupada Leelamrit, which is where Prabhupada's disciples are also finding pleasure now by being with Srila Prabhupada after they realize their mistakes. Like Prabhupada was saying, he was sick yesterday, he was ill, but it was not the material sickness of this world that was troubling him, but it was the illness of his disciples who were not following his instructions. So that is the paramount. That, when we have taken initiation, like Prabhupada was saying, there are almost 80% of people not following the rules and regulations, not following the guidelines that Prabhupada had given them. So that is what was making him sick. But when disciples were chanting like this, Prabhupada said, yes, this kirtan is what actually gives us life. And Prabhupada said, I don't want any doctors, but yeah, continue this kirtan, right? So that is the more that the kirtan, the holy name of the Lord, are so powerful and so potent, they're life-giving. And Prabhupada was very happy and blissful, and after that he recovered. And now from Vrindavan, he has come to Bombay, and yeah, he's trying to get all these projects completed so that he can give these to his sincere disciples who can take these projects forward. But yeah, he cautions that it is not just like a father gives lovingly to his sons. If a son is sincere, if a son is obedient to the instructions of the father, then the son doesn't even have to ask. Father will give as much as possible. If his father is a wealthy businessman, he will give as much. But if he sees that that son is misusing the funds, misusing the money, or misusing any prosperity that he has in wrong terms, then that father will withhold things, right? So like that, Prabhupada was cautioning that, whatever we are doing here, these things are all, this is all Krishna's energy. So many devotees are working hard to collect these funds. So when we are building these temples, again, what is the mood, what is the intention behind having these is to always be in the service of the Lord selflessly, not that, oh, I have now this wonderful temple and, I will now manage this and make this my own. That is a wrong thought process. So that is Prabhupada something that he was cautioning his disciples against. Okay, so now he's asking Mr. Sethi to continue building these rooms on the top of the tenement building. So they vacated the huts that the disciples were living in so that they could get the no objection certificate from the city. So we'll continue reading from here. Okay, another major objection from the city had been that the temple's bhajan would create a nuisance, and that point had to be satisfied first and foremost. When the police saw Prabhupada's drawings of the projected temple and hotel, they admitted that within such a big temple, the kirtana would not create as much noise as it did at present. So they agreed to accept the master plan for Hare Krishna land and remove their objections based on nuisance, provided ISKCON tear down the straw huts and widen the access road so the tenants could approach the back portion of the land. Each of these legal demands involved many detailed points of contention. It was like a long, drawn-out chess game. But Prabhupada was experienced, cautious, and determined. He proposed to stay at Hare Krishna land for several months to help Giriraj Maharaj, Mr. Sethi, and the others. Meanwhile, Prabhupada insisted that the spiritual program at Hare Krishna land go forward unabated. Even without a permanent temple, 500 to 700 guests were coming for the Sunday feasts. Giriraj had reported to Prabhupada that Janmashtami in Bombay had been a great success, with several thousand people coming to see the deities and take prasadam. For Srila Prabhupada, who was now accustomed to staying in places like New York or Los Angeles for a week or less, to stay in Bombay for a 3-month period confirmed again that Hare Krishna land was dear, very dear to him. It was his special child. When danger threatened, he became alarmed and protective, and when success came, he was very proud and wanted to tell the world. Prabhupada seemed satisfied that at least some construction was always going on. He asked that Mr. Sethi build a brick wall around the property, even though parts of the wall were sometimes torn down at night by gundas. Build something, Prabhupada said, even if it is just one brick, but go ahead with construction. Just as when in acquiring the Bombay property, Prabhupada had understood the great value of possession even before attaining the deed. So with construction, he insisted they go ahead even without full permission. The work must begin, Prabhupada said. Whether you have got sufficient men and bricks or not, begin even little, so it can be understood that we have begun. Srila Prabhupada had received word from Vrindavan that the newly elected governor of Uttar Pradesh, Dr. Channa Reddy, had visited the temple site. Hearing this, Prabhupada decided to invite him for the rescheduled opening of the Krishna Balaram Mandir. Your Excellency, tentatively, the date is fixed upon Sri Ram Navami, the birthday of Lord Ramachandra. Probably it will be the fixed up date because we are depending on the progress of the construction work. If you kindly give me your consent, we can print Your Excellency's name on the invitation card as the chief guest and inaugurator of the temple. You are already our member as well as a great devotee of Lord Krishna. So we shall feel it a great privilege if you kindly agree to this proposal. Prabhupada followed his invitation to the governor with a letter to Surabhi in Vrindavan. Everything must be cent percent completed by the end of March. Is the contractor cheating? That means it will never be finished. Simply, we have to put money. From the photos I have seen, there is not very much progress. What to do? I want no explanations. I want to see everything finished. If there is still doubt, please tell me frankly. Invitations were coming in for Srila Prabhupada to travel to different places, and another world tour was developing. Prabhupada wrote to Hridayananda Goswami, who was inviting him to visit Mexico City and Caracas. Yes, I want to come there very much. Now we are in Bombay, trying to get permission from the government to build our temple, and it appears that we will possibly be getting the permission next week. If this works out, then I will immediately be going to Honolulu, and from Honolulu I can go directly to Mexico City, then Caracas, and then to Australia by the end of Jan. If the Bombay situation is not settled up, I may have to stay till mid-Jan or so, and then in mid or end of Jan, I will be going to Australia to stay for 1 month. By mid-January of 1975, the city finally issued the no objection certificate. Prabhupada was jubilant and immediately called for a cornerstone laying ceremony. He had already held a groundbreaking and cornerstone laying ceremony in March 1972 on first moving to the land. Nevertheless, he wanted another one, as this would actually signify the beginning of the construction of the temple. He therefore devised a festival involving all life members and friends of ISKCON in Bombay. Srila Prabhupada was ready to travel, and this time, more than ever, he impressed on his leaders in Bombay that the temple construction should go ahead without interruption. No doubt, there would be new opposition from the government, but such opposition would be overcome, as in the past, by Krishna's grace. The devotees, however, would have to be very determined. This was the reward of working for Prabhupada in Hare Krishna land, that one gained determination in the face of trouble and knew that by staying with one's service, he was pleasing Krishna and Krishna's pure devotee. Okay. During February and March of 1975, Srila Prabhupada toured widely again, traveling eastward via Tokyo and Hawaii to Los Angeles. While traveling, he received word that Governor Reddy had accepted the invitation to attend the Vrindavan temple opening on Ram Navami. He also received an encouraging report from Surabhi, assuring him that this time the temple opening would definitely take place. I'm encouraged that you expect to have everything completed on time, Prabhupada wrote. This I want. Prabhupada traveled to Mexico City and Caracas. Again, in answering his mail, he was saying he would soon meet everyone in Vrindavan. To an Indian life member who wrote him for advice in touring foreign temples, he wrote, by the 20th of March, I will be in Calcutta, and you can see me there. I shall advise you personally. You are also invited to participate in our Mayapur festival during Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day ceremony, as well as the opening celebration of Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan on Ram Navami day. The governor of UP will also come there to participate, and many other important and respectable gentlemen will also be coming. I hope you will also come with your wife and son and mother and encourage us by taking part in the festival. Leaving South America, Prabhupada moved quickly, stopping in Miami, Atlanta, Dallas, and New York. all within a month of his departure from India. He then went to London, stopped in Tehran, and returned to India on March 16th. It was Prabhupada's eighth trip around the world in 10 years. Early in the morning of March 23, Srila Prabhupada left the Calcutta temple for Mayapur, traveling in a caravan of 5 cars. Prabhupada was in the first car. 3 following cars carried his sannyasi disciples, and the last car carried his sister, Bhavatarini, and other ladies. As usual, Prabhupada asked to stop at the mango orchard. Devi Shakti Dasi. They all sat around together, just like cowherd boys. Prabhupada in the center taking his breakfast fruits. It was Ekadashi, and I had made a cake for Prabhupada out of dates and coconut. Very fancy. When Prabhupada opened his tiffin and saw it, he said, "Oh, what is this? Who has made this?" So Achyutananda Swami told him I had made it, and he started eating it right away. Prabhupada said he liked it. Then they washed their hands, and we were on our way again to Mayapur. Mayapur, March 23rd, 1975. For this year's festival, almost 500 devotees from around the world had gathered. And Prabhupada, while taking his morning walks in the nearby fields, while entering the temple of Radha Madhav, or while lecturing from Chaitanya Charitamrita, was the central attractive feature. Each morning after giving the class, he would circumambulate the temple room, followed by his disciples. A brass bell hung from the ceiling on either side of the deity's altar, and Prabhupada, while circumambulating the deities, would go up to one of the bells and ring it several times, pulling the rope while the kirtana continued wildly. Then, with cane in hand, he would walk around the back of the deity altar and emerge on the other side to ring the other bell. The devotees would jump up and down, close around him, singing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Smiling with great pleasure, Prabhupada would continue the length of the temple room, past the pictures of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Gaura Kishore Das Babaji, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, then come around and up the other side of the temple room to the first bell again and strongly ring it. After half a dozen such blissful circumambulations, he would leave the temple while the kirtana continued to roar. Coming out into the bright morning sunshine, he would walk up the broad staircase to his room. On at least 2 occasions during that festival, Prabhupada became stunned in trance while delivering the morning lecture. One time he was speaking in appreciation of the sacrifice of his disciples who had spent so much money and come so far from their homes in America, Europe, and Australia to render service and attend the festival in Mayapur. "You are all young," he was saying. You have a good opportunity, but I am an old man. I have no opportunity." And with these words, he suddenly fell completely silent. Such silence before 500 disciples produced a feeling of suspended time. Everyone waited. Finally, one of the devotees began chanting Hare Krishna, and Srila Prabhupada returned to external consciousness, uttering Hare Krishna. He told the devotees, "Have Kirtan," and went to his room. Prabhupada again supervised the annual meeting of his governing body commission and personally approved or modified all their decisions. ISKCON was indeed growing, but as Prabhupada had told his friend, the aged Gopala Acharya in Madras, Krishna and Krishna's institution are non-different. If the devotees are thinking of Krishna's institution, they will not forget Krishna. By insisting on the devotees' participation in the annual India pilgrimage, Prabhupada was solidifying the spiritual basis of ISKCON, his transcendental institution. To gather his devotees like this was the reason he had prayed and struggled to erect centers in the dhamas. He wanted to extend the purifying shelter of Mayapur and Vrindavan to all of his followers, now and in the future. Bit by bit, the plan was coming together. The whole world was being saved by Lord Chaitanya's movement. Hare Krishna. Vrindavan, April 16. When Srila Prabhupada arrived to finally conduct the Krishna Balaram Mandir opening, he was pleasantly surprised to see the 3 tall domes rising over the temple. The domes had been constructed entirely during the 8 months since his last visit. The 4-story international guest house had also been completely built during his absence. Surabhi had supervised workers in day and night shifts to get everything done on time. The tall central dome and 2 side domes, one over each altar, were magnificent. Their graceful form led the mind to higher thoughts and suggested an existence beyond the material world. The strength and beauty of the domes reminded one that beneath resided the deity of the Supreme Lord. A temple was to enlighten people, to remove their neshans, and the domes eloquently spoke of this purpose. They could be seen for miles, rising boldly above the landscape of Vrindavan, proclaiming the worship of Shri Krishna and Balaram ki jai. Each dome was topped by a copper kalash consisting of 3 balls representing the lower, middle, and higher planets, and at the top the eternal Sudarshan Chakra, the spinning wheel weapon of Lord Vishnu. The Sudarshan Chakra was Krishna himself, and just to see this glorious symbol atop the mandira made the devotees feel victorious and satisfied. Even the guests could not help but regard it with awe. Atop the Sudarshan Chakras were copper victory flags. As Prabhupada toured the completed building, he continually looked up at the domes. Oh, he said, the domes have come out very nice. What do you think? He turned to the devotees accompanying him. They are magnificent, said Hamsuduta. Yes, Prabhupada, said Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. I think that Surabhi has done a nice job. Yes, Prabhupada smiled. Everyone is telling how nice Surabhi is doing. Prabhupada turned to Surabhi, who had gone with little sleep for weeks. But I can't say that. Only me. I'm criticizing you because that is my job. I have to always criticize the disciple. No less than 600 devotees from ISKCON centers around the world had come to Vrindavan as part of the annual Indian pilgrimage. The high point was to be the installation of the deities and the opening of the temple. Final preparations were going furiously. Cleanups, decorations, cooking. Many important life members and guests had come and were staying in their private rooms in the 40-room guest house. Prabhupada's vision had finally come to pass. He had created probably the most beautiful and opulent temple in Vrindavan. Certainly, the one most alive with dynamic devotion and preaching spirit. And along with it, he had built one of the best local hotels for visitors with an eye for Krishna Bhakti. Touring the grounds, Prabhupada walked into the sunken courtyard, its marble floor gleaming and dazzling. This was no rented house in America, something built for another purpose. It was a temple, and like the temples in Vaikuntha, described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is heaven on earth, Prabhupada said. I think it surpasses all the temples in India. Prabhupada stood smiling before the Tamala tree. Its venerable branches spread throughout one corner of the courtyard, and he recounted how there had been a discussion of cutting it down and he had prevented it. Tamala trees are associated with the pastimes of Srimati Radharani and are very rare. In Vrindavan, there were perhaps only 3, one here, one at Seva Kunj, and one in the courtyard of the Radha Damodar temple. That the Tamala tree was growing so luxuriantly, Prabhupada said, indicated that the devotees were performing genuine bhakti. Convinced that the temple was actually ready, Prabhupada entered his residence just between the temple and the guest house. Many details demanded his attention, and many visiting disciples were present. Thus, in Ramanareti, in a place where there was no temple, a pure devotee desired, let there be a temple and seva, devotional service. And what had once been an empty lot was now a place of pilgrimage. Such is the power of the desires of the pure devotee. Epilogue. Srila Prabhupada would often say of his devotional service in India, Vrindavan is my residence, Bombay is my office, and Mayapur is where I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bombay is the biggest commercial city in India. Prabhupada's business was pure devotional service to Krishna, and in Bombay he dealt more with the managerial aspects of Krishna consciousness in India. He had incorporated ISKCON in India with the main branch in Bombay. All other branches of ISKCON in India, therefore, were legally part of the Bombay Incorporation. In Bombay, Prabhupada had cultivated more lawyers and businessmen as life members and earned more friends of his society than in any other city in India. So whenever he was in Bombay, he often sought legal advice, not just about the Bombay Center, but also about his other affairs in India. Since Bombay was a modern city with professional and office facilities on a level with many Western cities, Prabhupada wanted to locate the Indian division of his book trust there for printing Hindi translations of his books as well as English versions for the Indian market. Bombay, unlike Vrindavan and Mayapur, was not a dham but a bustling, wealthy city. ISKCON's biggest donors lived there. Although Srila Prabhupada's demeanor was entirely transcendental in Bombay, and his activities were often the same as elsewhere, speaking on Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam and worshipping the deities, nevertheless, Prabhupada called it his office. And though it was his office, he wanted a temple there. Mayapur, Prabhupada said, is where I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada conceived of a temple to be built in Mayapur that would be the grandest of all the temples in his movement. He and his devotees would worship the Supreme Lord there in such a magnificent style that the whole world would be attracted to Prabhupada's place of worship, the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. According to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the prescribed worship for this age is Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy names of God. Sankirtana worship emanated from Mayapur, the holy dham, the original holy dham of Lord Chaitanya. In this age of Kali, states the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna appears in a golden form as Lord Chaitanya, and his activity is to chant Hare Krishna. People with sufficient intelligence will worship him in this form. Srila Prabhupada wanted to make the most wonderful worship of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his birthplace, and thus completely fulfill the predictions of the previous acharyas, who foresaw a great Vedic city rising from the plains of Navadvip. Mayapur could also be considered Prabhupada's place of worship, because his spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had preached extensively there, and because his samadhi was there. Since Srila Prabhupada's entire preaching mission was in the service of his spiritual master, he worshipped his spiritual master through preaching in Mayapur. Mayapur was the origin and symbol of preaching Krishna consciousness, because there Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda actually began the Sankirtan movement that Prabhupada was now carrying all over the world. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach the Sankirtan movement of love of Krishna throughout the entire world, and therefore during his presence he inspired the Sankirtana movement. Specifically, he sent Srila Rupa Goswami to Vrindavan and Nityananda to Bengal, and personally went to South India. In this way, he kindly left the task of preaching his cult in the rest of the world to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Vrindavan is Prabhupada's residence. Religious people in India as well as religious scholars in the West saw Prabhupada as a Vaishnava sadhu from Vrindavan. When he began his preaching in New York City, he would often introduce himself as coming from Vrindavan. Here I am now sitting in New York, he once said, the world's greatest city, but my heart is always hankering after that Vrindavan. I shall be very happy to return to my Vrindavan, that sacred place. The people of Vrindavan also thought of Prabhupada as their hometown success. Upon retiring from family life in 1954, Prabhupada had gone to live in Vrindavan, first at a temple near Keshi Ghat and then at the Radha Damodar temple. After taking sannyas in 1959, he had continued to reside in Vrindavan and not living there to reserve and when not living there to reserve his 2 rooms at Radha Damodar. Vrindavan is the home of Krishna consciousness, the place of Krishna's childhood pastimes, the place where the 6 Goswamis sent by Lord Chaitanya had excavated holy places, written transcendental literature, and built temples. Any devotee could feel at home there, and thousands of Vrindavan's residents carried bead bags, chanted Hare Krishna, and wore the Vaishnava tilak and dress. Vrindavan belonged to Sri Radha and Krishna, and this was still acknowledged by the residents of the present day Vrindavan. Ultimately, Vrindavan is revealed only to the pure devotee. Vrindavan is the eternal residence of all spiritual souls in their eternal relationship with Krishna. The Vrindavan in India is a transcendental replica of Golok Vrindavan, the eternal planet where Krishna resides in the spiritual world. The pure devotees aspire to attain to Golok Vrindavan after finishing their life in this world, and Prabhupada, therefore, as a pure devotee of Krishna, naturally felt at home in Vrindavan. He sometimes said that if he were to become very ill, he would prefer not to go to a hospital, but to simply go to Vrindavan and there pass his last days. To spread the glories of Vrindavan, Prabhupada had left Vrindavan, but like a traveler away from home, he always thought of returning to Sri Vrindavan Dham. Ki Jai. Okay, beautiful. So we'll pause here. Yeah, like we always say, pure devotees of the Lord are never separated from the Lord, or never separated from his Dham. So wherever Prabhupada was, that was Vrindavan. But factually, he said, yes, Vrindavan is my residence, and Bombay is my office, and Mayapur is my place of worship. So it is like, all the spiritual abode, and even the universe. Prabhupada is saying, like in the temples here, we say the lower planet, middle planet, higher planet, all those are there in the dome that was magnificently constructed in Vrindavan. And now, especially in this month of most auspicious month of mercy, Maha Mercy of Mahabhav Srimati Radharani, in Kartik, so many devotees travel to Sri Vrindavan Dham. And as we speak, many of our congregation members are there, and devotees from all over the world are congregating. All of this, we see again the seed was laid in Srila Prabhupada's transcendental mind, and how he wanted this project to come to fruition, so that in the future, all the devotees would come and take association of each other and worship the deities, worship the Dham in these holy months. So what Prabhupada envisioned in 1974, 70, when this project finally came alive, after now today, 50 plus years later, so many devotees are reaping the benefit of what Prabhupada personally envisioned and personally did while he was still on this dhara. Yeah, so these are very precious, and these are like, this is like, piece of heart of Prabhupada that he has given to us. So we have to really, really take care of it. And not just Vrindavan, but all the ISKCON centers, Prabhupada said, they are non-different from Vrindavan. So each of the temples, each of the centers that we have, this is really like a piece of heart of Srila Prabhupada. So we have to really take care of all of these with sincerity and serve in the mood that Prabhupada wanted us to serve, serving the deities, serving the Vaishnavas, serving the community, sharing this with more and more people. Like Prabhupada wanted this to be shared to the local people. So we are doing our tiny bit, like the plan came together bit by bit, like that. We are also only tiny, insignificant part and parcels. So bit by bit, we have to make our attempts to share this especially in this month of Kartik. So thank you to everybody who has been joining in our online programs for the past 3 days. Today will be our first home program at Jayarada Mataji's home in Kentucky. And then tomorrow, of course, will be our first grand celebration at the center for Kartik. And then Sunday at Nalan Prabhu's home. So blissful start to our week 1 of Kartik. And it is only going to get better and better and better if we continue to follow and follow and follow Srila Prabhupada. Okay, Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to share anything that you liked from today's reading? Hare Krishna. Yes, anybody would like to share anything? Any thoughts? How is everybody's Kartik coming along so far? Okay, everybody's absorbed, looks like, right now in the mood of spirit of Kartik. So okay.
Hare Krishna,
Well,
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat
Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Pranam. I was just thinking about the 3 tamal trees. I didn't realize
Hmm.
that there were only 3 left in Vrindavan. And so wonderful that we can take darshan in our own Krishna Balram Mandir and Radha Damodar Mandir. And Seva Kunj have not been there. But this is so nice that, and Prabhupada saying that if the tree is flourishing, that means the devotee's devotion is doing well. So that was very nice to hear.
Yeah, so many things we learn when we read Prabhupada's books. Yeah, like you said, that is also one thing which devotees say when they come, right? When they come and they have good, like Tulsi Maharani also is the same mood. Senior Vaishnavas, they say Tulsi Maharani grows well. That means the devotion, devotion is flourishing. It's nice bhakti. So we should try and especially in this weather that we live in, Ohio and West Virginia, building the Tulsi house, the Tulsi Maharani. It is still difficult to maintain and sustain Tulsi Maharani's growth, but again, if she's growing, that means the devotion is flourishing. So that should be our bhav and our sincerity. That if you're sincere, then yes, like you said, like Prabhupada said, if they're flourishing, our bhakti is growing. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Anybody else would like to share anything? Okay, all right, then we'll pause here for today. Thank you so much for your wonderful association, and we'll hopefully see some of you or all of you in the evening program, if not for sure tomorrow at our Saturday program. We'll continue morning reading tomorrow. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनन्तकोटि वैष्णववृन्द की जय जगद्गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय शिल प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय कार्तिक मास महामहोत्सव की जय निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल
हरि
हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्ण Hare Krishna.